On Hotep Peace Family, Dashan Farad here. Welcome to Expressions in Blackness. Today we have a special guest. All of our guests are special. Our brother's name is, Joseph Johnson. And okay, here we go. I was attempting to, one second, I'm about to read his bio real quick. Zoom is acting a little crazy. This brother is from Jacksonville, Florida. He and his wife have been living in Denver, Colorado for the last 2.5 years. This brother has a very interesting history, a very challenging history, but he's a trooper. And when I say trooper, I mean as in life trooper, not state trooper. He received a 10-year sentence a week after he turned 21 years old. He got released after he turned 31. After being released, he got into the HVAC industry. He's been working in this space for 6.5 years. After experiencing sustained success in that industry, he decided to write a book titled HVAC Guide, specifically aimed at men with a felony conviction in their background. He's currently transitioning from working for an HVAC company as an install and service technician into owning a minority stake in a commercial HVAC company. He recently has taken on a handful of speaking engagements across the country, I'm presuming across the country, where he's had the pleasure of speaking to a wide range of people, from the currently incarcerated men to groups of social workers. Brother Joseph, welcome.
Good evening. Good evening. How you doing today, brother?
I'm fine, family. I'm fine. Well, brother, this is about you, brother. Tell us about your book. We want to know, why did you write this? Why did you write this book?
Okay. So I wrote the HVAC guide specifically for men and women who are in a situation pretty similar to my own. As you previously stated, I was incarcerated for 10 years. I got out and got into the HVAC industry, and it really changed the trajectory of my life. So I thought it was important for me to pass on that information and pass on the knowledge of the skill that I've learned that really helped me prepare my life to another level. So that's the primary reason why I wrote it.
Now, brother, hold the book up. We want our viewers to see it, bro. Hold that book up, family. Because brother, listen, we want our people to be educated on HVAC, but we want to put money in your pocket. We want to put money in your pocket.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Okay, so I want to ask you a question. Are you the only Black author to write this book? I should say African-American author to write such a book?
That I know of. Mm-hmm. I'm sure there have been other authors on HVAC topics, but I'm the only Black author that I know of that has dived into this particular venture. And specifically, I'm pretty sure I'm the only author that has written, provided the information in a book form specifically about how to execute the task of installing an HVAC system.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So how long did it take you to write it?
Well, it took me about, so the actual writing portion probably took me maybe 2 or 3 days. I literally just wrote what I do on a day-to-day basis. It was literally like me chronicling my typical day.
Okay, but it's still but it's an instruction manual of sorts, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely. So it took me about 2 to 3 days to actually write down the tasks that I do on a day-to-day basis. Right. I pretty much just chronicle the exact information I would be passing on to a helper, someone who was helping me install a system. And so that took me about 2 to 3 days. Then the process of having someone actually type up what I wrote, right? That took about 2 weeks or so. Then getting it edited a few times, and then bringing the book to actual fruition to the end point probably took me about 7 months or so, I would say.
That sounds about right, because I've had the daunting task of having to edit a few books myself. So that sounds about right, especially a book like that. Especially a book like that. So what I want to know is, so I take it that it's of course we know it's an instruction manual, But
Yes, sir.
people who have read it, have they said, wow, this is that easy? Have people, what are some of the responses you've gotten from it?
Oh, great question. Great question. So, ironically enough, the most of the responses that I get is, "Oh man, this is pretty cut and dry. This is pretty laid out in layman's terms, right?" I try to write it with very specific language, right? Specific to uh guys who may be actually reading it while they're incarcerated, right? So um I definitely minimized the cursing. I didn't include like any cursing or any slang, so to speak. But I kept it pretty simple. Yeah, it's pretty cut and dry. Pretty cut and dry. I actually was on the phone with a friend of mine who was incarcerated, and he got the book. And to hear him kind of reverberate some of the language and some of the points in the book, to hear him kind of explain to me some of the tasks back to me lets me know that he was able to grasp the information and regurgitate it back to me with no problem. So yeah, based on all the feedback I've been getting, it's a pretty straightforward book.
Now, did you learn HVAC installation while you on the inside?
No sir, no sir. I learned my first endeavor into HVAC was about 8 or 9 months after I was released. I just got through into the fire, working for a commercial HVAC company, and that's pretty much how I learned it.
So currently, and we're going to get this next question. I'm going to ask this next question, as they say, first, and then we're going to get into your time on the inside and like your background. Where's your
Yes,
book?
sir.
Like your book, how is it being distributed? Can I find it at books, Barnes and Nobles, at different bookstores, or order it Amazon?
Yes, sir. You can definitely find it on Amazon. You can get it on Kindle, or you can get it preferably from my website, which is visiontransition.com. Visiontransition.com. And you can get on my website. It's a lot more affordable than on Amazon, because on Amazon, they're gonna get their cut as well.
I was going to mention they got to make their money. I was going to mention that.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I'm sorry, I'll let you finish.
No, that's it. That's it. Go ahead.
Okay, so Brother Joseph, now I have to get into your background now. Uh, if you don't mind me asking, dear brother,
Mhm.
what led you to getting locked down for so many years?
Mm. Now that's a nuanced question, because I would say more specifically what led to me uh, getting incarcerated was things like poor mindset, uh, a misunderstanding on my environment, and uh, not reacting appropriately to situations I was dealing with at the time. I think things like that were the underlying theme to why I got incarcerated. Just poor decision making. I have been making a string of poor decisions that led up to me getting incarcerated. So I would say it was just overall just um, not not approaching life from the correct perspective. Having a blurred vision, so to speak. Priorities. That's another thing. That's another thing I would say. Priorities not being in the correct place. So things like that.
So if you would uh, give us a snapshot of what it was like growing up in Jacksonville.
Yes, sir. So I was very fortunate to grow up in a two-parent household with my mom and my dad and my little sister. And for the most part, inside my home was pretty loving. My mom and my dad, doing the best they could to raise me to be a productive young man. But Jacksonville, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Jacksonville, Florida, but it's been the murder capital of Florida for, since I was a kid, right? So there was always a lot of violence around outside of the household. You know, going to school, I would say all the way from probably like elementary. You know, there was a high level of violence all around, right? So, you know, it was growing up in Jacksonville was had its pros and cons. Not a lot of not a whole lot to do as far as keeping a young man entertained. So for me, I kind of started getting into the street activity probably about 14 or 15. So I would say around uh, puberty age, kind of starting to get into the street life activity. And then from there, it was just everything you can imagine that comes with being in the streets.
So, I take it now. When you said two-parent home, I have to ask you, did your father ever have to step in and try to like go upside your head to keep you from that? What was it? What was it like having a black father? I presume. What was
Yes,
that
sir.
like? When he
Yes,
saw
sir.
you drifting off like that.
Well, my dad was a Marine,
Oh.
right? Yes, sir. So he was pretty strict by nature. Um, and I would say that he made a valiant effort to kind of keep me on the straight and narrow. But at some point, I would say at some point during my teenage years, I could tell that, he was kind of at a loss for answers, right? He really was like, I don't know what else to do, you know. So he definitely, put forth effort. He definitely did the best he could. And, to instill that level of discipline. But for one reason or another, I wasn't entirely receptive to it at that time.
So during that time, well, I should say, okay, you described your father. Did you have anyone else? I should say, now he was your father, but did you have any older black men who attempted like to be, a big brother to you, a mentor?
I wouldn't say a mentor, so to speak, but I would say that I had uncles and older cousins who uh who were active in my life, who would try to speak to me from time to time, try to rein in my conduct, because I was always a smart kid, I wasn't like just just misbehaving because I felt inadequate about my brain power or anything. Sorry about
Oh,
that.
no, listen, I could tell if I may interject. No, I can listen. In order for you to be involved in HVAC installation, building maintenance, no, you can't be a dummy with that. So,
For sure. For
yeah,
sure. Yeah.
your mind
So
has to be, tip top mathematics all day. Yeah, I'm sure.
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So I always had that aspect of it.
Mhm.
But my conduct kind of was off the rails a bit. So yeah, I definitely had older men in my family that kind of tried to speak to me about reining in my conduct, trying to, get a grasp of what was causing me to be so angry.
Well, you know what, Joseph, just to let I saw your videos that you sent me, and it
Yeah.
appears that you're not attempting to, but you are passing on that wisdom of those
Yes,
of,
sir.
of those brothers that tried to get you right.
Yes,
And,
sir. Yes,
and of
sir.
course, your turbulent, your struggles. I see you passing it on. What's it like when you speak to people, especially other black men, younger black men in particular? I mean, we're young men, but you know what I mean. Those that are
Yeah.
just now entering into manhood.
Man, it's a pretty natural conversation for me. Uh, it's literally me just um tapping into the conversations that I would like to be having with some of my friends that have passed on already, right? Some of my friends who have made decisions that led to them uh, losing their lives, right? So in my mind, when I'm having conversations with younger men and I'm passing on information to them, really I like to try to just tap into that mode, like I'm talking to one of my I'm having a conversation with one of my friends that I can no longer have, right? So in my mind, I'm envisioning, man, these are all the things I would be telling this guy if he was still here right now.
So, where are some of the places that you have spoken? You've addressed different organizations, you've been in different states. Name some of the places that you've addressed,
Oh, absolutely.
or where you
First and
addressed. Pardon
foremost,
me. Go ahead.
yeah. First and foremost, I spoke at two prisons in Lima, Ohio, which is about an hour outside of Columbus, Ohio. Um, that was pretty big for me because that was my first time really stepping back into a prison environment and speaking with young men and actually being hands on and being able to be back in that mode, be back in that environment. That's one place. I've spoken to a group of um, not counselors. It's
Social workers?
social workers. There we go. Yes, sir. I've spoken to a group of social workers in California. Um, about 60 social workers, just about how to have an impact on their clients and the people that they deal with. And then I've also spoken a lot, just hands on with young men, just right over the phone or like putting up like everyday conversation. At a we also had a event in Denver, Colorado, where we had a gentleman by the name of Marcus Barney. Come 500, he came out for a financial literacy event that we were putting on, and I had an opportunity to speak briefly out there as well. So that's a few.
So, you have any speaking engagements lined up for Black History Month?
Oh, great question. Great question. Not per se. No, right now I don't.
So, as we get ready to wrap up, what we're gonna do is I want to. What are some of your inspirational thoughts that you would have to Black men who have been on the inside, but also Black people, but specifically Black men who wish to write books?
Oh, okay. I got you.
Yeah.
I got you. So for Black men who are on the inside, I would say I'm gonna kind of keep it in a nutshell, right? Because I have so much to give, right? I would say number one, the very first thing is immediately, right now, right at this very moment, right now, make a conscious decision to get rid of any level of bitterness or resentment, right? Any degree of bitterness or resentment that you may have for people who didn't do something for you while you were incarcerated, you should just get rid of that now. It's not useful. It's not helpful for you. It's not going to, it's only a hindrance, right? I would say get rid of that immediately. Secondly, I would say you should be planning for when you get out right now, right? The skills that you're going to need to advance, the skills you're going to need to, or the more than skills, the character and the character and the traits that you're going to need to excel when you get out. It all starts with mindset, and it starts where you're at right now, right? You need to build that while you're incarcerated.
Joseph,
So,
I got. Oh, go ahead. I'll let you finish. Go ahead, but I have to ask you one more question. But go ahead.
yes, sir, yes, sir. So I would say number one, start with that right there, right? Attacking that mindset. Make sure you're building a mindset of productivity. Make sure you're taking on a mindset of positive attitude, right? And make sure you're taking on a mindset of solution based rather than complaining based. So that's what and I would give that to anybody. Solution based rather than complaining based, for sure.
I got to ask you, Brother Joseph.
Yes,
Please
sir.
explain the logo behind you. Now, brother, did you start a university without telling anyone? What's going on with that?
Oh, no, sir, no, sir,
I
no,
gotta
sir.
ask you, brother.
Yeah, so I am a part of EYL University, and I am an executive on the Colorado chapter, right? So that is something that I try to promote everywhere I go. It's something I'm extremely proud of, and it only made sense to have it as my backdrop.
The EYL stands for what, brother? You gotta
Earn your leisure. Earn your leisure. Yes, sir. So that's what it's about. Earning your leisure.
But okay, well now out of curiosity, when you say chapters, and I gotta ask you a question. Is there an actual headquarters? Where was it established?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So they just merged, right? So it's Earn Your Leisure University, powered by Recession Proof. And the headquarters, I would say, would be in Atlanta with the dude Marcus Barney. And there's 26 chapters over the United States. So I'm on the executive board for the Colorado chapter, which is definitely, something big for myself. So that's a breakdown of it.
Okay, so before we end this broadcast, end this wonderful conversation, where can people find you? You gave the website, but we want your social media information. But actually,
Yes,
you can still repeat the website again if you like.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So the place you can find me the most active is on Instagram at Vision Transition. Instagram at Vision Transition. My Facebook page is Joseph Johnson at Vision Transition. And my YouTube channel as well is Vision Transition. And you can also get access to my book on my website, visiontransition.com. So everything is Vision Transition for sure. You can hit me on, if you hit me on a DMs or private message on Facebook or Instagram, definitely I'll answer back for sure.
Joseph Johnson, thank you very much for joining us. I'm Dashawn Farad. Please subscribe to this channel, but also we're taking donations. Of course, we're raising money for the show's maintenance. We need help with extra cords, SIM cards, battery packs, laptops. So if you would, you can send any donations. We're saying as little as $5 is fine at Cash App D Farad. You'll find it in the subject area of this interview. Also, you can Zelle or PayPal me at 347-898-5556. Brother Joseph Johnson, thank you very much for joining us. That was a wonderful interview, brother. You're definitely someone we have to get back on here soon.
Yes, sir.
And I actually wouldn't mind coming out to Colorado to, to seeing what you do when it comes to our brothers and sisters you speak with. Family, I'm Dashawn Farad. This is another episode of Expressions of Blackness. Thank you very much for joining us. Hotep, Black Power.